Burnout is rarely just a calendar issue. So often as leaders, we can experience that burnout, that overwhelming feeling, and we just immediately start looking at, okay, what can I calendar better? What meetings can I cancel? How can I do better at my emailing? And we can do all those things and we can still feel it, because I would argue burnout doesn't start with the calendar. Rather, it starts with our spiritual life. Because as leaders, especially in the church, we can start seeing all our ministry as, what can I do? How can I do it? And then we start telling ourselves, I'm the only one that can do it. And then we start saying, I'm indispensable. And then we feel that pressure that we've put upon ourselves of, I need to do this, that I need to get this done. I. And we never turn towards the Lord. It's this moment in recognizing that our identity, instead of lying as a son or a daughter of Jesus, begins to lie in the stuff that we do, all the things that take place. And so therefore, burnout, while it's good to make sure that we have time in our calendar and that we can do things efficiently, is not just a calendar problem. Rather, it's a spiritual one. We start seeing all the stuff that we do as our identity. We start holding on to it. We start trying to control it. And we see ourselves as the savior of the ministry or of the parish or of the diocese instead of Jesus Christ. And so I want to remind you that you are not the savior. Jesus is the savior. And so when we start experiencing burnout, it can be these tell-point times for us to re-examine what our motives are, why we do what we do, and what we start telling ourselves. Because sometimes we'll never say it to anybody else or even to ourselves of why we're in this mindset, why we're in this cycle. And we start believing the lie that you are the only one that can do it, or rather, I am the only one that can do it, and we don't then expand it out into ministry. So if you're experiencing burnout, I think what we should do is look to Jesus, because Jesus, right at the beginning of his ministry, everybody is coming to him. Everybody wants a little bit of his time, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that. He goes up the mountain and he prays, because he needs to be reminded of who he is and why he's there and what is most important, which is his Father. And so if Jesus can take some time away to turn towards his Father, to be reminded of who his relationship is, who his identity is, and where it lies, then it's time for you and I to do the same. In that experience of burnout, we can feel trapped. We can feel alone. We can feel isolated. And Jesus is speaking to you into that right there, to take a moment to re-examine our motives. I love Pope John the 23rd. He said, so he was in the midst of the Second Vatican Council. So the pressures of the council, of everything else, it was said that he was in his chapel one night and he was just praying over a lot of things and all the different stuff that was happening. And he was feeling it. He was feeling the pressure. He was feeling burnt out. And eventually he just said, okay, Jesus, it's your church. I'm going to bed. In a very tongue-in-cheek way, I think that's what sometimes we need to do. We need to get that perspective that burnout is more than just a calendar issue. It's a spiritual issue. I invite you to turn towards the Lord, to re-find your identity in him today, right now.